Good evening. Good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing this evening? I'm so excited and delighted to see you guys. I missed you all last week. Um, but I was out last week, doing a little, well, what was I doing last week? I did something that I wasn't here last week. I was out in Portland, Oregon, at a conference. It was nice, but it's always nice to get home. So anyway, I missed you guys last week, and I'm so glad for the opportunity to welcome you all into my living room on tonight. So thank you guys for coming. As you come in, as always, I would like to ask that you like and share the video. Let everyone know that Juju is on the air. Hello, Mr. Michael France. How are you doing today? How is everything going with you? I hope everyone has had an awesome day and a great week last week. I had a pretty good week. Traveling is not my cup of tea. Well, flying is not my cup of tea. I left Opelika at 8 o'clock last Sunday morning, and I arrived in Portland, Oregon about 10 o'clock last Sunday night. And then this Thursday morning, I left Portland, Oregon about 9 a.m. and I got back at 1:30 a.m. on Friday morning. So yeah, the travel is not my cup of tea, but it's nice to see different places and learn about different things and experience different things. So I had a good time. Hello, Laura Dunston. Hi, cousin. How are you doing? Welcome to Let's Talk. So glad you're here. But anyway, one thing that I learned in Portland, Oregon is that it is real similar to a lot of big cities that I've been to. You have a lot of empty buildings in the downtown area. A lot of buildings that are vacant, and then you have a lot of unhoused people on the streets of these larger towns and larger cities, and you would think that maybe you could utilize some of the vacant buildings to house some of the unhoused people. That's just my thought when I see it, but I guess it's more to it than just here's a building, here's people that need a place to stay. So let's put the people that need a place to stay in the empty building, but I'm sure it's a whole lot more to it than that, but that's what I always think when I see all the unhoused people and the empty buildings in the large cities. Hello, Luz. How are you doing? How's everything going? I was thinking about you, Luz, because I was thinking, Lord, do I want to go back and do taxes again? But I know you didn't do taxes last year. So anyway, I was thinking about the doing of the taxes this year, but that was just something that crossed my mind. I have so many things on my little old plate. It's already so full until I don't know that I would have room to place taxes on it, but it is something that I am weighing in the back of my mind, and I know if I want to do that, then I need to go ahead and make those plans expeditiously. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. We're going to have a discussion, rather more on the light side of things. We've been heavy, pretty heavy lately. So we're going to be more on the light side of things, we're going to be talking about the NIL and the transfer portal in college sports, and are they a blessing or are they a curse? You know, I love oh, Luce, you did do taxes? Okay. So you weren't in the Opelika Walmart. I'll have to text you. Um, I'll text you because I am considering it. I'll text you about the taxes. Probably maybe tomorrow or Tuesday. And see if that's something that I really want to do. So anyway, guys, so we're gonna do something. We're gonna talk about something that's a little more light weight, not such a heavy weight, so we can just kind of relax and enjoy a conversation tonight. So welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight on Let's Talk. If you don't mind, please just like and share this video. Like and share the video. Give me some thumbs up. Give me some emojis. As you come in, let me know that you're here watching with us. Give me a wave. Let me know you're in the building. Mr. Jackson, when you come in, let me know that you're here. And I know I was last minute, real last minute on sending you some stuff this week, but praying to the good Lord that you will forgive me. Please, I know you love me, so just please forgive me for that. But anyway, we'll be starting here in about 4 minutes. This is my time of year, football season, and I'm trying to see how I'm going to juggle all of this with the football season and the election season, and just so much, as one of my neighbors used to say, one of my mom's friends, so much is going on. But anyway, we're going to get it all done. We're going to get it all done. So come on in, guys, and thank you for joining, and just come in, let me know you're here, and then let me know you're here, and then like and share the video. Let your friends know that Juju is on the air, and we do have a lot of things coming up in the next month. September will be a very busy month for Let's Talk, but it'll be an exciting month. It'll be something a month that I'm looking forward to. A lot of things that'll be going on that I'm pretty excited about, and I hope you guys will be just as excited about those things, and then we can go in there and get them done and have a good enjoy and get informed, and just talk to one another, share our thoughts and our opinions with one another. So I'm pretty excited about September, but it's going to be busy. It's going to be a busy month, but that's okay. And I need to start back crocheting because it is that time. And I was talking to one of my friends today at church, and she says, I really miss the dollhouse. We don't get to come in the dollhouse anymore because you're on Let's Talk. So I got to get some more dolls. I got to get back to creating. I got to get my schedule right, and got to get my schedule tight. And I don't talk too much about crocheting because there's a lady who might be watching by the name of my sister Althea, who's waiting for something, blanket king size. But anyway, we won't talk about that because we don't want to get her all upset and bothered about it. But anyway, so I'm going to get back to some crocheting. So you guys just look forward to seeing some more stuff. I have a doll that I have to make before I make any other dolls. This is a promise to me that I was going to make this doll, and so I have to make this particular doll, and then I can move on to other dolls and other things So I'm going to get back into the dollhouse for you guys that are missing the dollhouse. But I was trying to focus on Let's Talk, and especially right now when there's so much information that needs to be shared with so many. Mr. Jackson, I'm not hearing from you. Not sure if you're out here today or not. But anyway, it's 6:59 and we're going to get started promptly at 7 o'clock. And I'm thinking probably people are watching the football game, and I can't blame you for that because college football is my favorite sport. It is 7 o'clock, so let us go ahead and get started. Welcome to this week's edition of Let's Talk. Of course, I am Juju. I am your host, and I'm coming to you live tonight from my living room. Let's Talk is produced by my dear brother, Mr. Jerry Jackson, who always has my back. And Mr. Jerry, when you come in, please let me know you're there. There is so much for us to talk about, so we're going to get right to it. But first, let me remind you guys that this isn't intended to be a news show, but we will do our best to try to steer clear of gossip and things that are knowingly untrue. It is my sincere hope that everyone finds this a safe place where you feel comfortable sharing your opinions. This is not my discussion, it is our discussion. So I hope that you all feel comfortable sharing your opinions. All that being said, let's talk. So tonight, since this is the official week 1, I know last week was week 0, so that's when stuff got started, but everything got started this week. This is week 1 of my favorite sport, college football. I thought that we would discuss some of the recent changes and their impact on the game. But first, before we start discussing those things about the college football, I did want to remind each of you that there is just 65 days until this year's general election, where we will elect the next president of the United States. And I hope you have made your plan to vote. Here are some things that you should be aware of. Make sure that you know the voting requirements in your state. They do all differ from state to state, the requirements, the laws. Make sure you know your requirements in your state. Make sure you are registered to vote. If you haven't voted in the last few elections, make sure your name hasn't been purged from the rolls. That can happen from time to time. So make sure that your name is still on the roll. And I'm sure you can go to a website for your particular state and check your voting status. Some states have same-day registration when it comes to voting. However, here in Alabama, the last day you can register to vote in this general election is October the 21st, 2024. So if you have not done so, please make sure that you do so prior to October the 21st so that you can make your vote count in this election. If you need to vote absentee, make sure you know the dates associated with absentee voting. Make sure you know when you have to request, you have to have requested your ballot by this date, and then you have to have that ballot submitted by the next date. So make sure you know your dates in your state. Like I said, it varies from state to state. So make sure you know the dates in your state. And then if early voting exists in your state, consider utilizing that option. That way you can avoid any long lines or anything that may you may need to handle prior to that, anything that pops up. If that early voting takes exists, make sure you consider that option. Know what kind of ID is required in your state. Know if you have to have an ID to vote. If so, what will suffice? Does it have to be a state issue ID? Will your work ID suffice? Make sure you know the laws regarding ID in your state. And then finally, yes, your vote does count. So make sure you go to the polls and take a friend with you. We must vote in mass numbers to ensure that we receive the desired outcome. So make sure that you are registered to vote and that you have a voting plan. All right. Good afternoon, good evening, Miss Elaine Burden. How are you doing? I'm going to get you that phone number when I get off this call. I'm going to get off this broadcast. Althea Thomas, thank you for joining me. Good evening, Jasmine. How are you doing? How's Ember and Ezra? Thank you so much for joining. All right, so now for tonight's discussion, the NIL and the transfer portal. Is it a blessing or a curse to college sports? The first question, the icebreaker question that I have for tonight is, in 2024, the NCAA is introducing a 12-team playoff in Division I football. What do you think about this new playoff format? What do you think about, you guys? What do you think about the new 12-team format for the Division I playoff? You know, since 2014, we have had the 14 playoff format, and now this year's moving to 12 teams. So, what do you guys think about it? Let me know. Let me know what you think. For me, you know, I really am kind of torn on that. Okay, you know we got to do our dance, Mr. Jackson, so try me again. Hello, Miss Lynette Vincent Mays. How are you doing? Thank you for joining me. Our question that I have before us tonight, the first question, the icebreaker, is that in 2024, the NCAA is introducing the 12-team playoff in Division I football. What do you think about the new playoff format? Hello, Mr. Jackson. And that's okay because I was so late getting you anything. So we were both off today. But anyway, my thought on the 12-team playoff, the part that I guess I'm really excited about, you know, in the first round, you'll have the top 4 ranked teams will have a bye week. That particular week, they won't have to. They'll have a bye. They won't have to participate in that first round. But then the other 8 teams, they will play, and the highest ranked teams will play on the school campus. So you'll have 4 playoff games on school campuses, and I think that will be really exciting for the schools who get an opportunity to host the playoff game, and who will have that game on their campus. that's one thing that I really like about the new 12 team playoff. So what do you guys think? Anybody got any opinions about the new playoff? You just want to wait and see what it brings? You don't have a thought? Do you think it's too many teams, not enough teams? It was necessary, it was not necessary? Did you wish we could have just stayed at the 14 playoff? What do you think? What are y'all thinking? What do you think about it? Talk to me. Talk to me, somebody. Tell me, what do you think about the 12 team playoff? Mr. Jackson, are you trying to come in again? I'm not seeing you yet. Um so you're trying to come in. Jasmine, I don't know. Jasmine said, I didn't know that about the 4 games on campuses. That is awesome. A big game changer, I'm sure. Yes, and like I said, I'm positive that the schools that will have that opportunity to host those games, I'm sure that they will be so excited. That will be a big thing for them, a big revenue thing. They'll have an opportunity to have more of their fans there, because if you got to travel 2,000 miles to get to a game, a lot of that is just get to the point where it is the average fan is priced out of that experience. So more of the average fans will have an opportunity to experience the playoff and be a part of that, with the games being on campus, being in that proximity. Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else? Okay. Alrighty then. So let's talk about NIL and the let's talk about NIL. And what is NIL? NIL stands for name, image, and likeness. And the definition of NIL is simple. It is the possibility of being compensated or paid to It is the possibility of compensation being paid to NCAA student athletes to promote, partner, or represent brands, so they can use their name, image, and likeness to help promote, partner, or represent different brands. Alrighty, so that is what NIL is. And my first question to you. Hi, Jeanette Smith. How are you doing? Thank you for joining me. Do you think that schools are using NIL as a pay-to-play tool? Do you think they're taking advantage of it and misusing it as a pay-to-play tool? Mr. Jackson, have you tried to go out and come back in? I need you in here, sir. So what do you think? Are schools using NIL as a pay-for-play tool? Anybody have any thoughts on that? Anybody have any thoughts on it? Mr. Jackson, do you have any thoughts on pay to play. Hello, Miss Tamika Penn. How are you doing? Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining. Do Lynette any ideas on NIL? Well, I personally, you know, look at some of the situations that have occurred since the NIL have um, come into being allowed, and I go back and I look at the history of NIL and the lawsuits and things that were brought about in order to get the NIL. And basically what was going on is schools, of course, they're selling jerseys. You see, I have my number 9 Bryce Young jersey. But Bryce Young wasn't making any. Well, Bryce Young was, because by the time he came through, uh, NIL was there. But you had players that came along before him, um, and schools selling their jersey. Of course, the young men couldn't get any couldn't get any compensation for it, and the schools were making a lot of money off of them. You also had video games that had the players' likeness and image in the video games. The video game companies, the schools who's selling the rights to use their logos and their team colors and whatnot. All of this was taking place, but students were not benefiting from it, and they could not benefit from it if they even autographed something and somebody gave them money. Hello, Mr. Jackson. So great to see you.
Yeah,
If they autographed something and someone gave them money, they could be disqualified from even playing in the sport. And so that's why all of this came about. So, Mr. Jackson, what do you think about the NIL? Do you think it is being used by schools as a way of pay to play? What do you think?
I, it. Well, I just have mixed emotions about
Mhm.
it. I'm really excited for the
Right.
players. It's really past time that they are compensated, and I
Mhm.
don't even like
Mhm.
to use the word compensated because you're still a college eligible um, academic athlete.
Mhm.
However, the amount of money that they are bringing in to these universities is only fair that they have the ability to have their name, image, and likeness rewarded. They
Mhm.
should get paid. The only drawback that I have about it is what do you have to live for now if you want to go to the next level? You know, there are many opportunities for you to go to the next level where you're going to be a professional.
Mhm.
But if you're already making $3 million just on your name, and that's guaranteed money, and then you're going to get extra money for all of the deals that you make. Sometimes it can be an oxymoron, if you will, but I think it's really an opportunity for the school to have the donors to really support the program because I'm sure you've received all types of emails and requests from the University of Alabama to support their sports programs. And what that does is it goes to the NIL. And I did not realize that. But hey, I support the university because it's my alma mater. However, to answer your question, it is a pay for play,
Mhm.
and but it's
Yeah.
also allowing them to have an image or a brand. And
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
brand is going to help them and help catapult them into hopefully an entrepreneur and a good business minded individual. And what I do love about many of the schools now, many of the the athletes are graduating with a degree. I
Yeah,
look at the
yeah.
graduation rates, and if they're good enough, they'll get to the next level. However,
Mhm.
if they're not, they've been rewarded for
Mhm.
helping the
Mhm.
schools
Mhm.
to make a lot of money. Because you think about all of the jerseys that we purchase,
Mhm.
and at one point they weren't getting anything for it, but
Right,
you're putting my name on the back of your jersey and
right,
charging hundreds of dollars for a jersey,
right,
and I don't get any benefit from it except for, oh, I love Jayla Milroy.
right.
I love Tua, or in your instance, I love Bryce. You know,
Okay.
so
Yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah.
but
And, yeah, and I think, Mr. Jackson, I agree with you. I do think the players should be compensated for their playing. You know, when I was doing research on this, what I did not realize is prior to the lawsuit that enabled NIL, they players couldn't even get full academic scholarships if they were playing football. The scholarship didn't even cover all of their academics, the cost of attending school. And so that right there is just awful. And in my professional life, I have met former football players that were injured playing for the schools. They could no longer play for those schools. They lost their scholarship. They didn't have any kind of insurance, the insurance that the players have now as a part of this, for to cover them in case they're injured. And then they are out, no scholarship, they lose their scholarship, and they're struggling just to try to stay in school. And I do think that the NIL, the fact that you can have some guaranteed earnings, can encourage some athletes who may be on the bubble. They may not be first round draft picks or second round draft picks. They may be later draft picks. That may encourage them to stay in school and earn their degrees prior to leaving out. But my problem is the pay for play, or the fact that the schools are not supposed to be paying these students. Okay, this money should not come from schools. This is supposed to, the NIL. You're supposed to be able to sell your name, image, and likeness to businesses, or you create your own brand, like last year, Lank, um, with Milrose and I can't think of the other young man, but
Terry
they had
Arnold,
a Terry and Arnold. Yeah, they had created their own brand, and they were selling their own brand. The schools are not supposed to be giving you money, but you see a lot of that now taking place, where schools are just, the players are going to the highest bidder. And I know a lot of people were talking about, like, last year, and they like Texas was giving everybody um, Lamborghini,
Lamborghinis, and they
Lamborghini
were, they were.
to come play for them. So that right there bothers me. What I think would make things more equitable is if you set a salary for players. And you may say a 5-star receives this as a salary, a 4-star receives this. I mean, because, based on your credentials at your job, you may get more or less, earn more or less. So I think that that would be better for the equitability, and it would be less, okay, whatever school has the most money gonna get the best players. But anyway, and that was my next question to you guys. Do you think the NIL will help to create a more equity in college sports? Do you think that schools that may not have traditionally been able to recruit the 4 and 5-star athletes will be more likely to be able to recruit those athletes as a result of NIL deals?
Well, Julia, what I don't have this to be factual, but many schools are a lot of schools are suffering because they can't compete with these large schools that have
These
the
large
name already.
endowments.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's very difficult for University of South Dakota to compete with Penn State or Notre Dame or
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
USC,
Mm-hmm.
so or Alabama A&M or Alabama State, the smaller schools. And I I'm trying to. I don't know the factual information because I do know that the universities are not supposed to be taking and paying the players. I
Right.
still think I do know that that's legal. So, but there's a loophole that the
And and what
the
they do,
boosters,
Jerry, is they right. The boosters say, "I got this business. I got a Lamborghini business. Okay,
right,
I sell Lamborghinis. So I want you, and you to all come, and I'm going to give you a deal to promote my Lamborghini business. Okay, so of course, so that's a way around it. The school's not actually giving the players the money, but the booster who has the Mercedes Benz dealer or the Lamborghini dealership or whatever else where they can go around and say, okay, you help me promote my business, and then um I will give you,
right. The
such and such
the
this
boosters
much money.
the boosters have become very innovative, and they've gotten together and created LLCs. And
Mm-hmm.
in that LLC, they have the auspices to do whatever they want
Mm-hmm.
because they're
Mm-hmm.
representing that university, but it's a formidable amount of boosters that are very wealthy that own all of these different businesses that pump money into the school, but they're pumping it into the business, and then in return, they're able to make offers for NIL to the particular athletes, and that's a loophole that um, the boosters are able to get around
Mm-hmm.
because you can form your own business in LLC, and you can pump money to that athlete to get them to come to play. That was a big scandal at Texas A&M.
Texas A&M.
They
Mm-hmm.
had a
So, do you think that NIL fosters a atmosphere of
unethical.
the rich
Yes,
get richer?
of course it
So,
does.
so
Be-
yeah. So
Because
the teams with all the money get the better players, and they can continue to build up their program big more and more.
and money is enticing, Julia,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you have grown up in an environment where money was something you did not
Money
have a lot
was a.
of, but you
Mm-hmm.
were very athletic, and that's your way to stardom. That's your way to freedom. So when you throw the cheese at the rat,
Mm-hmm.
he's going to eat. And
Mm-hmm.
what is happening is sometimes the boosters feel like they can throw the money at our athletes, and they feel like they can just go and
Mm-hmm.
and do whatever they want. But see, what I'm afraid of is once they accept the NIL, are they at the mercy of the booster? What?
Well, I don't know, contractually, I'm sure, there are some terms in these contracts, and hopefully they have good legal representation before they just sign off on things, because they could be signing off on some things that they're giving up some of their rights. Mr. Jackson, you are exactly right about that. And most of the money that they're offering these young men is life changing money. And even if they're offering it to their, with their parents and their parents' consent, if you're going from uh borrowed from Peter to pay Paul to, okay, we're going to give you a $2 million deal or $1 million deal or $800,000 deal. That's life
It
changing money.
it
Um,
really is, but and I only can speak about the University of Alabama because I am a booster, so are you. You're an alum, so am I. Um, but I do know, that Bryce, Jalen, several of the young men have these NILs, and I think Jalen is the fourth highest paid athlete in the country.
mhm, mhm,
The guy
mhm.
from University of Texas is number one, I believe.
Arch, talking about Arch.
Arch Manning, yes,
Uh-huh.
I believe.
Okay.
But you know, what I am curious about, does this go into some type of a hedge fund, or what are they investing, or are they being paid a monthly salary when it comes up to the amount of money that they're getting? Like when they say that Jalen Milroe is worth $2.4 million, is he
Mhm,
getting that all in one lump sum, or is that based upon the worth, and then with Lank, with their new business, I'm
mhm,
sure they're getting residuals from that as
mhm,
well. So
mhm,
uh, this is really a very technical um, process because there's so many loopholes. And we've
mhm,
heard Nick Saban say a lot that he didn't like it.
mhm,
He didn't
mhm.
approve of it because it sort of took the athleticism.
Amateurism
Yeah,
out
it
of
took that out of the sport
sport.
because
Mhm,
you think about these college athletes are worth a lot of money, and sometimes I think it can be detrimental to their psychological
mhm,
perspective because they really don't have a lot to work for to get to the next level because it's pretty much guaranteed.
mhm,
Once and I don't know how that works. I just wish I knew the inner workings of it because most of the young men that are NIL, they go pretty high in the draft and then they get
mhm.
these
Well,
unbelievable contracts.
with this lawsuit that they won, it went back to I think like 2016. So even some players who never got drafted would get some money from it. But that's why I say it should be just
About
give a salary, and then you have because I don't know if I necessarily believe that NIL as it is good for the college sports. Now that's my next question. Do you think NIL is good for college sports? One
um,
thing I think it takes away, and this is just my perspective, is the sense of team and loyalty and commitment. Because this, in conjunction with the transfer portal, which we're going to talk about, is okay. I can be on your team today, on another team tomorrow, because you have offered me just a little bit more money.
um, absolutely. And uh, you said something that was really um, profound. I want you to say what you just said again, and then I'm going to stop you because I want you to realize how profound that is, what you just said.
What are you talking about? The NIL taken away from team loyalty
Yes,
and
yes,
commitment.
that
Mm-hmm.
is profound because, Julia, you think about even as students, we wouldn't have thought about going to another school and cheering and performing. That to me is blasphemous. I just can't fathom. I can't. I don't understand because I love what some of the athletes from many of the universities are saying is I made a commitment to this school and I'm
Mm-hmm.
staying.
I'm
And
staying. Mm-hmm.
um and there's no loyalty. And I'm not wanting to blame generation. I don't know if NIL has corrupted the
I
loyalty.
know that it has corrupted, but I think, like you
And
said, the money factor when you come from coming out of poverty. But you know, if I'm over here and when I'm over here and this is a part of my team, I'm a part of this team. These are my brothers. I'm
and
not going
sisters,
to my brothers and sisters. I'm not going to desert my brothers and sisters. You couldn't give me enough money to say, Julia, I'll give you $20 billion if you turn your back on Duchess and Althea and Chubby and Jeffrey and Jasper. If you turn your back on them and come over here and work against them, I give you $20 billion. You couldn't pay me enough. It just wouldn't be enough.
I
So
just I can't fathom, and I know that it's all about, well, we're going to get to the transfer portal,
mhm,
but it is all about freedom of choice. I get that.
mhm,
But when I am being recruited, I get to visit these schools and I get
right.
to familiarize myself with the school and see where I best fit. Okay. Just because you offer me a lot of money, I want to go where I fit in. And it, to me, and it goes back to, well, if I don't get my way or if I'm not starting, then I'm going to get, which goes back to, I'm segueing to the transfer portal. I don't mean to go there
That's
yet,
okay.
but it goes back to loyalty.
Mhm,
And and I know money is important.
mhm.
I know that. It's just like a certain brand of a drink. I'm a Coke man. I'm not going to drink
Don't
Pepsi. I'm
bring me
not.
no Pepsi.
Don't bring me a
I
Pepsi.
don't want
Um,
it.
I, I, I just don't. I don't want
Yeah,
it.
yeah, Mr. Jackson, and you go into a restaurant and you say, "Can I get a Coke?" Yeah, we have
I
Pepsi.
don't
No,
want it.
I didn't ask you for
I didn't
that
ask you
Pepsi.
that.
I don't
I
want no
don't.
Pepsi. That's a
I
difference.
I get up and leave. If you don't have the Coke products, I'm not eating there. This is where I live. Coke is the
Well,
product.
yeah,
Okay,
because you're in Atlanta.
but
Jasmine has
I
a
got
comment.
I
Okay,
got it. She says, "Isn't college ball to show off skill, or was that at one point? I'm uneducated on the NIL, but it sounds just like you're saying less about skill and more about making money. These are still college players, not NFL, etc." Jasmine, you are spot on. I totally agree. When we were in college, we couldn't go into these IBMs. We couldn't even get an interview with IBM of the state of Alabama until we were getting ready to graduate. They were we may get an internship, but we were still considered undergraduates trying to get that. And to Jasmine's point, it is to show your skill set. But Jasmine, unfortunately, they're looking at their skill set because these kids are marketing themselves.
yeah,
And it's all about the stars. They're paying, the parents are paying a whole lot of money to put these wonderful presentations of their
mhm,
athletes together. And they hire somebody to send them to these schools. And
yeah.
then the schools start saying, oh, well, that's a 4-star, but if he keeps going, he'll be a 5-star. And once you are a 5-star, that increases the amount of money that you could possibly
You
get.
can write your
But
ticket once you're a 5 star.
right. But
Hmm.
Julia, do you
Hmm.
know what we saw at the University of Alabama? All of these 5-star players coming in and converging on one team at one time. Guess what happens? Everybody's not going to be able to play. And
Right.
guess what happens?
Then
They
then
say, well, I'm a 5-star. Why can't I
why
start? And then
can't
guess
I
what?
start?
And this is a
Transfer
segue
support.
going over into
Hmm.
the transfer
Hmm.
portal.
Right.
when Nick Saban retired and left the University of Alabama, there was a mass exodus. All
Exodus.
the
Mm-hmm.
players just
Mm-hmm.
started leaving because of one man. Julia,
Mm-hmm.
I love Nick Saban, and I am committed to the University of Alabama. At no point would I have even remotely thought about leaving, even if I were
Mm-hmm.
in that situation,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm dedicated, I'm loyal, I'm committed to what I set out to do, and I want to finish what I set out to do.
Want to finish. But things are very different, and we're going to talk about the
Very.
transfer portal now. And I thought Jared was going to be on here because he was going to help me talk about the transfer portal intelligently.
I can
But anyway,
help you. I can
okay,
help you because I have a friend whose son just went into the transfer portal, and
okay,
I can tell you the goods and the bads and the uglies about it.
okay.
Okay?
All right, so we're going to talk about the transfer portal and what is the transfer portal and how does it work. First of all, the transfer portal is a way for athletes to move between programs. And here are some of the rules, okay? If a student athlete wishes to leave their current school to go elsewhere, they must inform their program of their decision to enter the transfer portal. The school has 2 business days to enter the athlete's name into a database for the portal. The athlete must receive notice that they successfully made it into the transfer portal in most cases before initiating transfer discussions with any other schools. Entering the transfer portal does not guarantee transfer eligibility. Athlete must be in good standing academically and without a history of serious disciplinary actions. And scholarships do not always transfer across schools.
And you
And I
forgot to
know
put
that,
you forgot to put something in there.
and
Financially.
what is that?
Financially.
Fine.
They must not have any financial obligations at the school they're
Okay.
leaving. They
Okay, okay, okay. And see, like I said, I didn't know all the ins and outs of the transfer portal. Jared said he was going to help me with that. But anyway,
I can help you because
okay,
I just went through this with my friend. Her grandson was at the University of South Dakota.
okay.
Um, and he entered the transfer portal without talking to his
His
coaches.
current school, okay.
And it got very nasty.
Mm-hmm.
Very,
Okay,
they became very disgruntled. They disenrolled him from school,
okay,
and they had to pay for that particular semester. Um,
okay.
she said they had
The
to pay like
semester he
12.
was leaving.
Yes,
Okay,
they had to pay like $12,000. And once he was in the transfer portal, once he got financial obligations taken care of, then he was actually in the transfer portal. And several schools looked at him: Jacksonville State, University of Florida, Bethune Cookman, and one other school. And Bethune Cookman made an offer that he could refuse.
okay,
Well, he's there now,
okay,
and he wants to transfer out.
okay. And see, and that is one of the things, and I don't know if they have changed the rules. I think there's 2 times a year that you can enter the transfer
That is
portal.
correct.
Duchess is here. She can help us with this. She's a football fanatic. She can help us with the transfer portal. But I know that there was a player from Alabama who transferred out when Nick Saban came. I mean, left.
Right.
And then now he has transferred back in and he's on the team. Now he's back on Alabama's team now. And so there's a lot of back and forth with the transfer portal. Some people get in the portal, they stay in the portal, don't nobody get them, and so then you have a chance that you could lose your spot on your team if nobody gets you out of the portal. If you just
That
hang
is
around in the
correct.
portal,
That is
you can
correct.
lose your team, your chance to get on to your spot that you're currently in. Duchess says yes. Caden
Caden Proctor.
Proctor did that. Okay, okay. And then and I know Duchess, they were talking about limiting the just cutting it down to one opportunity. Did they change it down to just one opportunity to get in the portal, or do they still have the two opportunities? I know you can do it in the after the football season and then after spring practice. That was, I mean, after the spring, yeah, spring
We
practice. Um,
we have a question. We
okay.
have a question. Jasmine says, how many times can you transfer in and out of the same school? I didn't realize you could transfer back to a school you left. Well, Jasmine, that's been proven that you can, because Caden Proctor transferred out, and I think was it Iowa that he went to, and then he
You
came right
transfer
back.
back in. Duchess, is there a limit on the number of times? Because I know before the transfer portal, you had to sit out, you had to wait, and it was a whole long process. You would have to wait a year and all this kind of stuff. Is there a limit on the number of times you can get in and out of the transfer portal?
She said that um, they're wanting to get rid of the spring transfer process.
Okay.
Um, but other than that, she said
There's
there's
no
no
limit
limit.
now. So
There's no limit.
Jasmine, you can just hang around it. You can hokey pokey around in the transfer port. Well, we look at what's his name that we played yesterday.
Uh,
Um,
uh,
Tinley. Tinley.
TJ Finley.
Yeah,
TJ Finley.
this is the fourth school he has been to. He was at LSU. He was at Auburn. He was at some school in Texas last
Texas
year, and now he's
State.
at Western
Kentucky.
Kentucky.
So,
That yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Um, and,
He, poor
and he
thing.
played against Alabama three times at three different schools.
And he just
So
he really needs to just hang it up. He really needs to go to the postal service or somewhere. Mm-mm. No.
oh, don't send it to the postal service. Well, ain't nothing wrong with the postal service. I might go work there.
Because he
But
needs to
anyway,
hang up. He needs to hang up football. Mm-mm.
okay.
No.
So do you think that the transfer portal helps create more equity in college teams?
Of course it does. Of course it does. And the coaches get to go out and recruit and encourage players. They poach. They're not supposed to do that, but they are quietly poaching players
To
and
get into the
encouraging.
portal?
Yes, because when I look at the statistical data and I see that you were a 5 star and you're sitting on the bench,
Hmm.
then I'm going to start poaching you.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
and believe it or not, they're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to do that. Alabama was accused of poaching a player, the kicker, poaching a player from one of the universities, but of course, that didn't happen. Darlene Todd says he really needs to hang it up in reference to
Y'all
TJ
leave
Finley.
the TJ
Yeah,
alone.
well, I'm
He
sorry. He needs to go work at the
gonna ride it till the wheels fall off. So
well.
y'all just leave
So
leave him alone.
Julia, let's
Uh
go
huh.
back to my friend's grandson.
Uh
He
huh.
has 3 more years of eligibility.
Okay.
He's got the COVID year, he's got his red shirt year, and then the year that he was injured. So he's now going to graduate, but he has 3 more years. So she informed me that he was going to use up this year to graduate and then get his master's, but transfer. Going to get out of Bethune and transfer to another university because of. She said that the coaching staff sold him a bag of rocks to get
Okay.
him
And and
there.
and, and do you think? I mean, sometimes I think there's something to be said for hanging in there and waiting your turn. I think about Blake Sims. That's the one that always comes to my mind.
Yes.
And 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 I know that was before the time of NIL, that was before the time of the transfer portal. But he was one that hung in there and waited his turn, and he was a great player at Alabama because he hung in there and he waited his turn. He built a relationship with his teammates. They had a camaraderie. They were the teammates who were willing to go to bat for him. No, you're not gonna bring Coca in here on top of Blake been here whole waiting his turn all this time. We gonna go with him. We gonna play harder for him because that's what we want. And seem like to me there there is a because you need that in life. You need to form connections. And I think the ability to just get up and say, it's not my way, so I'm going to go somewhere else so quickly and so easily is not necessarily, it may be building good football teams, but is it building good football players? Is it building good human beings? That is my question. Do you think that the transfer portal is good for the sport? Do you all think that the transfer portal is good for the college? It's good for college sports. Why or why not?
Julia, I think it's very good because it's allowing for the disparity of the programs to now become out on an equal playing field.
Mhm.
You know, if you think about it, it's a lot of talent on all of these in all of these programs, and sometimes the talent is not exposed because, and to Blake Sims, you got to wait your turn. Well, we're in an instant society. If I'm a 4 or 5 star player, what am I thinking? I should be out here competing and playing. And then if I don't, then guess what? I'm going to hit the transfer portal.
Mm,
And what happens is you've got a disgruntled athlete that says, I want to take my talents elsewhere. However, we may lose out on you leaving us, but you're going to make the program better. Think about University of South Dakota compared to Bethune-Cookman. Um,
mhm,
you know, there there are a lot of differences, culturally differences, financial differences, infrastructure differences. You know, the grandson is really upset behind a myriad of things, um, but he got sold the best package from Bethune Cookman.
mhm,
And here's the thing: it was just all talk. So
mhm,
when there is a transfer, when you get in the transfer portal and you decide to accept it, are there conditions or what I mean, can you hold them accountable, or is it a written agreement
mhm.
about what they can offer you? I'm just a little, I misunderstand that, and I'm not
I,
understanding that.
I don't know. Duchess had a comment. Um,
She says, I think the portal has some advantages and some disadvantages. I think it's totally out of hand right now. I concur. It's
I
absolutely
concur
preposterous.
with that as well. And let me ask these other two questions, Jerry, because I want people to, I want to see if I can get an opinion on these,
Okay.
and we're running up on time.
Yes.
What changes, if any, would you like to see made to the rules governing NIL and the transfer portal? Are there things that you, as fans of the sport, would like to see changes made for the portal and the NIL? Like I said, with NIL, I would like to see players get paid. And then that way you cut out all of this buy here, say buy now, save later, or whatever. And then I also would like to see with the portal, you not being able, maybe you go in there twice. twice as a lot, but just not unlimited times for you to go into the portal. Um, just hopping from school to school. I think there should be some limits on how many times you can get in and out of the portal. Because I don't think it is good for the sport, but I know it's not good for the young men to be able to just up and I'm not satisfied. You know how many times I've been not satisfied or not happy or felt that I wasn't being maximized at my job, and I could be and hopping from job to job. I never would be grounded anywhere.
Okay,
Um,
we've got some comments.
okay.
Um, Duchess says there should be definite limits on how many times you can transfer, and Jasmine says I agree on portal limits. Um, that's just a general consensus from many people. It's out of hand. There are so many loopholes right now. That's why it's really a mess and it's a mockery. Because I honestly think that you should get. I think it should just be one transfer, and that's it. And
Mm.
you choose the pick of the litter, and that's it. You don't get to bumble and fumble and dance around and
Just
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 no,
hop
because
around from place to place.
you're getting an education,
Yeah,
and you just get one chance, and you make the best of that.
yeah.
And if you make the wrong decision, that's just your little red wagon. Get in it and ride in it. I don't think that you should have the ability to just transfer. And I guess they're going to say, well, if I'm a regular academic, if I'm in the academia side, I can transfer
You
as many
ain't
times as I want.
you can
But
transfer, but you're not
well,
getting paid, paid, paid.
I'm not getting paid, and I'm not on a scholarship, because if
Right.
I leave that university on that scholarship, I lose
It
that
ain't going
scholarship.
unless
It's
it's
not
a
going with
national
me.
scholarship. It's not gonna go with
It's
you.
not
And
going.
then the
No.
last question that I had that I want to ask right quick, like, is athletes opting out of bowl games. What do you think about that? And then especially those that still have eligibility that still are going to come back and play next year. But even those that are going to go and get into the NFL, what do you think about uh, 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 um, players opting out of bowl games? We saw that with Florida State, but then we also saw what Florida State did the other day. But anyway, we saw that with Florida State last game. You had players who would came back to play again this year, standing on the sideline, not dressed out, um, not opting not to play in the bowl game against Georgia, and I think they used that as an excuse because they felt like Georgia was going to scrub them. So they said all the good players, well, all of our players didn't play, our good players, we didn't have our team. So, I mean, what do y'all think about the opting out? And
Um.
while they are talking about the opting out, Jerry, you can go ahead with the announcements. I just want y'all to ponder the opt outs.
Okay. All right. So here are the announcements, and I'm going to post them. Next Sunday, we're going to be talking about the economic plans of each presidential candidate. So that will be next Sunday, September 8th. That's going to be our next Let's Talk. And after that, we're going to have a debate watch party. We're going to have a Let's Talk debate watch party, and that's going to be aired live on Facebook. And we're going to be doing live commentary, and we're going to be calling them out and um,
Fact checking.
fact
Mm-hmm.
checking. Yes, we're going to be, you know, I don't care who it is, we're going to fact check it. And this next one is a biggie. And I don't know, I really need for those of you that are on this call tonight, here's a call to action. We're having a Let's Talk is going face to face. We're going to do an in person meeting, and it's going to be a dynamic presentation. We're going to be going to the wonderful, historic, my favorite place, St. Luke, and we're going to be there on Tuesday.
I
Uh,
put the
wait,
first, but it's the 17th. It's the
exactly,
17th.
because I'm correcting that right now. So it's
Okay.
September 17th, and we're going to be at St. Luke. And we're going to have a wonderful special guest from the Alabama Alliance by the name of Monica Riley. What we need for you to do is to go to our YouTube page, to our Facebook page, my personal page, Ardene's page, and share the flyer. It is extremely important. And what we want you to do is to we want you to actually send it out to at least 25 people that you know. We want the place to be packed, and we're spending a lot of time and effort to get Monica Riley here. Representative Jeremy Gray will be in the house. He was very instrumental in helping us to secure um, Monica Riley. And so we want to show our appreciation. Refreshments will be served. So we want you to come out, and it's going to be Tuesday, September 17th at 6 o'clock at the historic St. Luke AME Church in Opelika. And Julia and I will be hosting the event, and we really want you to come out and support us. Hopefully, you heard the announcement at your church today. We're going to start really blasting it next week. Um, I'm going to be on several TV shows and to talk about it. So we want you to share it, please, 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 please. And next announcement will be uh, the Voting Rights Restoration Clinic. Again, going to be at St. Luke Church on October 5th at 10 o'clock in the morning, 10 to 12. Anybody that you know that needs their rights restored, if they have been restored, we can get them the right to vote. And this is sponsored by the NAACP, Lee County Branch 5038, and Legal Services of Alabama. Shout out to Hold Up the Light. Hold Up the Light. Hold Up the Light will be doing some wonderful things during this campaign season. Um, they are going to be providing assistance to help anyone in getting their voting rights restored. And the phone number is listed. So please make sure that you reach out to Hold Up the Light. Also, Hold Up the Light is is really wanting to make sure that you have a valid ID, a state issued ID. We want to make sure that you have a state issued ID so that there will be no issues when you go to the poll. We want, and I think Hold Up the Light is definitely giving out information about how you can get your state issued ID, and it is free, and you can contact um, Hold Up the Light. Also, please, please, please check your voters registration. We have seen in many areas that the voters registration list has been purged.
Mm-hmm.
Please check your voters registration status, and it's very simple. Go to myinfo.alabamavotes.gov. Okay, and then we also, I'm just this is our hidden secret here. Everything else is out loud. But if you have not had an opportunity to tune in to Divinely Guided Podcast, I just want you to know I'm going to be the first one to tell you you are missing out. The dynamic duo of Duchess Thomas and her daughter Adria Vincent are giving some phenomenal information. It's just unbelievable. I did not realize all the information that they were providing for us. So let's go out and support them. Like and share. Go out to their page and please support them. And we need you to subscribe. That's what we need you to do. Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
fussing now. I'm hollering. I'm fussing. We need you to subscribe to Juju's Dollhouse, Ogie Dinks. I mean, just as simple as that. We just need you to subscribe to it, and you know, let's get her name out there. Let's get her name out there because we're really putting out some good stuff. And let's subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can keep up with everything that's going on with Juju for you, and you can catch any of the editions of Let's Talk, and you can go on to the YouTube page and get that. And just to let you know that By Juju for You is a proud sponsor of Hold Up the Light. She's very excited about that, and she's always supporting somebody. So thank you, Juju, for all that you do for the community and for our brothers and sisters. And finally, I'm going to turn it back over to you where you can give your famous quote. Again, I apologize for my tardiness. I don't know why they're trying to keep me off this live, but it's just not going to happen.
I Mr. Jackson, but that's okay. We always make it through, but we're gonna have to make sure we get on here for that watch party and everything. We can't be late for some things.
Well,
But
baby,
anyway,
I'll be on 30 minutes early,
okay,
so
so
we can be pumping it up.
okay,
Yes, okay.
okay, so we will get everything worked out for that. But anyway, I did want to say that Duchess did say that she did not like the opting out, but she did understand for those who are getting ready for the draft. She's seen multiple players get injured and it impact their draft stock. And then Jasmine said it goes along with the talk earlier about commitment. You made a commitment to play ball with such and such school. Um, it's if it's for health reasons, etc., that is different. But um, but why sit out and let your teammates get scrubbed alone? And then she also said that she didn't think about the draft. So we just wanted to make sure we got those comments in. Hello, Adria, you're late for the party, so you'll have to go back and watch the video on replay. But I do thank your best bud, Jasmine. She has been very interactive with me this evening. So anyway, all righty, guys. Thank y'all so much for joining. Of course, like I said, this is our discussion, and it's not a discussion without you guys. If it were not for you guys, I'd just be talking to myself, which I do on a regular basis. But anyway, so thank you so much for joining. Remember that I am Juju. I am that mountain moving giant slayer. I am walking by faith. I am inspiring hope. And I am showing love all along the way. And until next time, next week, I wish you all much love and many blessings. Good night. I love you guys. Good night.